Very good morning for all our attendees here. So, welcoming you guys again for another week to talk about Microsoft 365 features and how we can utilize, in our organization, stuff like that. All right. So, without delaying any further, so we will begin our sharing. So, our sharing today will be focusing on four topics as usual, which is Microsoft Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive, and also the last one will be Microsoft Outlook. Okay, so let me share my screen. All right, so we have planned multiple series of Microsoft 365 sharing from VLAN side, right? So basically, this will be our second session. So because our first session had some technical errors and issues there, so we will begin from the basic sharing of 365 from Teams and stuff like that, and then our next sharing um, will be updated by our team, and those sharing will be related to Microsoft apps, which I will show you guys at the end of the session as a glimpse of what we will be sharing and stuff like that. All right. So before I begin, let me introduce myself. My name is Kishan. So I'm working in VLAN for about 5 years plus now. So I just recently reached the anniversary. So 5 years already in VLAN. And I'm actually doing this trainings for our existing customers and also our new customers for the past 4.5 years. So yeah, that's my profile. So let's just begin with our session here. So the first topic that we'll be talking about is actually Microsoft Teams, like what are the features inside there and what we can utilize, right? So if you are new to 365, so how would you access your Teams? There's two ways. One, you can download the Teams to the desktop, or you can go to Microsoft365.com or portal.office.com, right? And then you can actually sign in with your business account and you will be able to see all the applications that you are entitled to use under your license, right? So we will click Microsoft Teams here, right? So all our sessions will be basically from web-based. So in case if there's anything that I need to share from the desktop applications, then I'll reshare my screen, to show the desktop applications. Right. So usually when we open Microsoft Teams on the web page, sometimes it takes some time for it to open, because it always open with the latest version of Microsoft Teams. It always updates itself on the web. Unlike in our desktop, we usually need to, click update now. It depends. Okay. All right. So this is Microsoft Teams here, right? So how do you download it? It's basically by going to this three dot here. Then you'll be able to see download to desktop, and then you have download the mobile app as well. All right. So we have chat features here. So I won't be dragging too long on the chat feature. I just want to walk you guys through on the most important things that you guys need to be aware of, right? So under chat features, basically we can, start one-to-one chat by going to this search bar where we can actually search our colleague's name, right? And then we can actually start the one-to-one chat straight away. And if let's say you want to create a group chat, then you can actually add them from here. You can add multiple users, right? So for example, we're adding Nisa and then we're adding Adi. So this is how we can actually create a group chat from here, right? So you can see this is the brand new group chat, right? So there's no any conversation and everything. So let me just start with an hi. So from now on, basically the chat will appear over here, right, under recent. And if let's say I would like to change the group name, right, you can always proceed with the name changing. right? So we can just put as webinar discussion, right? All right. So the name will automatically change, right? And then all the group members can be found over here. And in case you would like to add a new person or you want to remove the existing one, you can do so from here as well, right? Okay, so the most important portion that I would like to talk about is actually this shared portion. It's because people always, wants to do it the easier way, right? Any file sharing or start doing work, they always find it like whichever is easier, they will do it from there, right? But then we as a from IT perspective, my job is to educate all of them, right? To give an idea what will happen if you store your files here, how it works from the back end, those kind of things, right? So yeah. So first, let me just upload a pic, anything for my desktop. So for example, all right, yeah, let me just upload this particular PDF file. All right. So the reason that I like to talk about this shared file is because we need to understand where these files that we upload actually storing on the backend, right? Okay. The files that we share from this chat area, so any files is not only a group inside a group chat, even it's one-to-one chat, all the files basically will be saved in the user's OneDrive, okay, under the user's OneDrive. So any user that share a specific file, that particular file will be automatically uploads to the person that uploads the file, right? It will store in his OneDrive. So even though if it's a local file, it will automatically go to OneDrive. And then from OneDrive, that's where the sharing permission automatically works from the backend. That's why they name it as shared. Last time it was files. Now they change it to shared so that people will understand that this particular files that you have here is actually under shared files from through your OneDrive actually, right? Mm. So we might think what's the big deal if it's going to the OneDrive, right? Okay. So you might be utilizing this chat area to have your share files, the day-to-day files, you start editing over here and stuff like that, right? So the impact in a long term is in case like let's say Kishan leave the company. Like once Kishan leave the company, what happened to the files that Kishan shared in this chat area? So those files that I shared, right, will be not be able to access after that because it's coming from OneDrive. And the moment the person leaves the organization, you will remove the person's license. So the moment there's no license attached to the email address, all the data inside the OneDrive will be disappeared after the specific retention policy based on each company. So usually it will be 30 days or 90 days, it depends on the company. So after that particular retention time, all the files will be gone. So once the files are no longer accessible, you cannot open those files anymore. So that's the uh, problem that you might face if you are sharing any day-to-day basis file in your chat area. So that's what I wanted to explain. So I will show later where these particular files goes and inside the OneDrive and everything. Right. So we have this particular add a tab option. So whereby we can add multiple tabs to the chat, right? So we have built-in applications and also we have also third-party applications which we can add into the tab, right? So for example, we are adding a OneNote. So any OneNote or Word, PowerPoint, anything that you're adding this to this particular tab, right? You can always open and also, edit those files anytime. So let me just create a new one. All right. Okay. All right. Give me a moment. Yes. All right. All right. So yeah, we have OneNote here, right? So from this particular OneNote, basically we can add any updates. For example, I'm just gonna add webinar updates, right? And then we have just maybe just gonna put Teams or OneDrive, right? So any updates that we're gonna put here, we don't have to save. So we can always because it's actually auto save, so we can always close it. And you can always find that particular tab from this area, right? So you can see webinar updates, right? So you can always come back in and then start editing it, and right, and then go back to the chat area and stuff like that. Okay, so that's how we can add a tab, right? So other than that, we have video call and audio call, right? And then right, we have video call and audio call available, right? Right, so you can always start video and audio directly from any chat within your organization group. So if let's say you would like to create, okay, before that, let me just change my right, okay. Okay, so let me just go back to the chat area. Okay, so if let's say you would like to start conversation with your external members, right? So the moment that you want to start a conversation with external person, it is possible to do so, but it always depends on your admin, right? They should allow you to start the conversation with your external members, right? So how do you do that? Is basically you type the external user's email address, right? You type the entire email address and you will find the user's email address there. So if let's say you find that particular email address, that means that the user does have Microsoft Teams, and you can actually start a conversation with them, right? So you can see Kishan Kumar, which is my VLAN Asia account, so my company account. It shows as guest here, right? Because I've added this particular email address as a guest inside this in my demo account previously for some other testings, right? So that's why it shows as guest, right? For your end, if you are starting a conversation or anything, right? It will usually show as the external. So you will see it as an external conversation there, right? So you can see here, basically, if you are adding them as a guest, you will have options to attach a file, right? You can attach files to a guest user. But then if let's say they are an external person, so if let's say the status is under external, so for example, let me just type and search for any external users. So you can see this is actually external person, right? So when it comes to external person, you cannot attach any files to them, right? So that's the difference between having a guest user and also having an external user in this conversation, right? So the reason Microsoft did this is because of, security concerns, right? So if you are adding them as a guest user, basically Microsoft will create them on Microsoft record as well from the backend. So which for users perspective, we don't see any difference there, but then from the backend, they have their own ID in our tenant and stuff like that. So in case anything happen, we still can actually, secure that particular account from our end, right? But unlike external, we are just communicating directly to the other person's organization. So that's the reason they don't allow you to attach any files, right? Okay. So that's on external and also guest access, right? So now let's look into some other features that we have. We have attach file, and then we have set delivery option, schedule a meeting directly from here, and then we have record video clip, right? And then schedule message, right? You can see schedule a message here. So you can type a message and then you can set a date and time when that message should be sent. So for example, I'm setting a date and time for to maybe, yeah, on Friday, right? Maybe at 12 o'clock. Okay, so I can start typing out all the messages, right? So continue, right? I can start typing out any messages and then I can click enter, but then it will only send the message on that particular date and time. So that's how we can actually schedule our message to one or in a group as well, right? Other than that, we also have schedule a meeting directly from here. So if you schedule a meeting directly from a group chat, so the benefit is that you don't have to add the attendees one by one. So it will capture all the group members from that particular chat. It will automatically add them as attendees of this meeting, right? That's the benefit here. If you are starting from a group chat, right? So other than that, we have set delivery option. So by default, it will be in standard, right? Other than that, we have important and also we have urgent here. So important basically comes with the important mark there. So whenever you send a message, maybe the one is down, right? So it will mark that important stating that important message is here, right? And then we have by default, once you send it out, the delivery options will be back to standard, right? And then we have urgent as well. So urgent means basically we can send a message to a specific group or individual whereby it gives them multiple notifications, right? You can see here it says 2 minutes for the next 20 minutes, right? So that means it's equivalent to 10 times of notification will be sent out to the users, right? So that's how urgent works actually. So let's just not send that and then go back to standard, right? So pretty much those are the things. The rest of the things are actually the applications. So today we are not going to talk about the applications, right? The application portion we will cover separately so that we can go in depth of what are the applications we have and what we can do right? So now let's move on um, to Microsoft Teams group. So there's a lot of name for these particular teams. Some call it as teams, some call it as groups. You know, the M365 groups, there's a lot of terms there. So it depends on in which term that you're gonna use it, right? All right. So what's the benefit of having these particular groups here is you can have a conversation among your department. So when I say conversation, you might be thinking, oh, I can create a chat and have a conversation there, right? So the reason we have a conversation here is because this portion, this particular area, basically belongs to the entire organization. So it's not only your personal chat or conversation. This is actually for the entire organization. Even though if you leave the company, the conversation stays there, right? So this is the best place and the best practice that you can actually utilize in your organization. So which is by creating a department groups, right? So by default, you will be able to create. So anyone will be able to create. But then if let's say your admin restrict that, then you won't be able to create on your own. So your admin have to create it for you, right? So you have to create a team, right? So, and then let me just create a team. So when you create a team, so you can give a name, like a random name. Description is up to you. You don't want to give a, it's fine. Okay, so this is the most important part. So you can see private, public, and also organization wide, right? Organization wide means any users in your organization, like licensed users, right, will be able to join that particular group directly, right? So it's like automatically pulls everyone into that group. So it can be a all staff group, right? So you want everyone in your organization to join. Like for example, there are certain enterprise companies, they have multiple, staff, like maybe thousands of staffs, right? So they're not gonna go and add one by one, click, add. They're not gonna do that one by one, right? So to create an organization group, so they can just use this organization wide and automatically will add everyone inside there, right? So and then we have public. So public is basically a group without restriction. So it can be a random group. So maybe it's a e-sport group, or maybe your badminton group or futsal group, your company, event groups or stuff like that, right? So you can create it as a public group. So anyone that would like to join that group, they can simply find that group and join directly. So how do they find? Let's just click cancel and then go back here. So they will join using this join team option. So there's no join team option here because we don't have any public group here, right? So if there's any public group, so this is where it will show all the public group, and I can just simply click join and I will be joined into the team automatically. So that's how public group works without any restrictions. So for those that would like to create a departmental group, so make sure go with private. So when you go with private, so only you can add members inside there, because when you create the group, you will become a owner. So only you can add users into the group, right? So let me just create, give a name called, right? Okay, and then private, right? Keep it as private. So last time, Microsoft used to give you a default name, which is general, but now Microsoft allows you to create your own channel name, or we call it as channel. Um, Easier for you to understand, it's a folder's name. So for example, we're gonna create webinar, okay, we create as live event, right? And then we create. All right. So it's quite straightforward on how you create. So now, since it's a private group, now it will ask me to add users into the group, right? So for example, I'm going to add some users, right? And then create. Yeah, done. So now you can see there's webinar and then there's live event channel here. So where we can, start a conversation, right? So now how do we manage the team? So we have manage team option. So this is the channel area. So whereby you can add a new channel if you want to. So just now we create as live event. So now maybe we create a feedback group. Okay. Right. So so we create as feedback and then just keep it as standard and then create. So now you can see there's another channel called feedback, right? So there's feedback, there's live event under webinar, right? Okay, so if I go back to this particular files area, so the reason why I said it's a folder, so this is where we can find it. So it will take some time for all the files tab, the rest of the tabs to be created because it needs to create the SharePoint. So you can see there's live event folder. If I go back to document, so I'll be able to see the exact two things here. So whatever that you creating here, the names here are actually the folder's name, right? So be aware that whatever you create there, it will be the folder's name. So you just need to focus about what you want to name your folder. So yeah, so let me go back to my manage teams. Let's look at some of the features there. So since I'm the owner, I have additional privilege here, which is I have members option where I can add and remove, and I can make somebody else as an owner as well. So from my member list, I can make them as an owner, right? And then we have pending requests. So why there's pending requests when only the owner can add? Okay. The reason is from this three dot option, we have a copy link to team. So when somebody copy this link and pass it to someone, so what happens is that when they click that link, right, it will give them a prompt saying need to request to join this particular group, right? So when they click that, so this is where you can find all the pending requests to join the group. So me as an owner, I can actually just approve or decline, right? So other than that, we have settings here. So settings option where we can upload a picture, a group picture for our teams, right? We can edit the name, and then we have member permission, right? So under member permission, basically you can see all the permissions are enabled, right? If let's say you want to disable certain permissions, like you don't want them to delete the channel, right? So you can actually always disable that. So you don't want them to create a channel. So only you can create a channel. You can always disable that function. So they don't, they won't be able to create a new channel. So they'll just follow whatever channel that you have created, right? So but bear in mind, by default, all the settings are enabled. So we as a owner, we have to take a look and, you know, just play around with that particular options there. And then we have guest permission here, right? So under guest permission, both of these actions are not enabled, right? So you can always enable these particular options where they can update the channel, right? If not, you can add a guest user, but they will only be a read-only access to the channel. They cannot update anything inside the channel, right? So and then we have a mention. So basically you can actually mention anybody in the group. So and then fun stuff, as usual. So let me just go back to our group here. So, so to mention a specific users, you can actually start the conversation, right? So this is how it will be. So you can put a title here, what you want to discuss. Feedback, and then you just upload something. So if let's say you want to mention someone to do that particular thing, so you can always click the alias option, and then you just select the user, right? So you can send it out, and that particular user will get a specific notification saying that a person mentioned you in the group, right? So that's how you mention a person, right? Okay. So now we will go to this particular files tab. So from this files tab, right, you can create a new file directly from here, or you can actually choose to upload a file or folder from your desktop, right? So let me just try to create a new file from here and then name it as illustration, right? So now you can see that the particular Excel file is already created. Okay. So within Microsoft, we have this function called co-authoring. So if you guys have heard of it before or not, so if this is the first time, so this is actually a benefit that Microsoft is giving you guys. So whereby if let's say there's multiple users in your tenant, so that gonna use the same file at the same time. So maybe I'm just giving a scenario. User A and B editing this, but these three columns, like user A is editing this column, and then user B is actually editing this column, right? So it can happen to be like it can happen at the same time, right? So there's no any issue for you guys. You can always work at the same time. So if let's say the users are on this particular file, right, it will show their name at the top here. So right now I am using my only account here, right? So there's no any additional account there. So we can't really show how it looks like. But then if you are right now have your devices on and everything, your colleagues are there, you can actually test it around, right? You can actually update anything, right, at the same time. And this is actually a live update whereby your colleagues, like say it's working from somewhere else, as long as he's connected to the internet and updates the file, you will receive the update immediately. So it's like within seconds, you can see all the updates that are showing on your end, and anything that you update will actually show on the other end as well. So that's how the co-authoring actually works over here, right? So that's how co-authoring works in Microsoft, right? So let's just close this and go back to Teams, right? Okay, so where these particular files are actually storing. So that's something like those are new to Microsoft. You need to be aware as well. So any files that you upload here, right, from this group chat will be actually storing in your SharePoint. So each tenant will be eligible for 1 TB of storage in SharePoint. And if let's say you have business basic, standard, or any licenses, so each license will actually contribute about 20 to 30 GB of storage to SharePoint as well. So if you have 1 TB, which is allocated for the entire tenant, and then if let's say you bought about 20 or 30 licenses, So each license will contribute 20 GB to that particular 1 TB. So you will have maybe like 20, then you might have 1.2 TB or 1.3, 1.4 TB, something like that. So each license will actually increase your SharePoint storage as well. So the more users you have, the bigger SharePoint size that you will get actually. So if you have one or two, then you definitely will get 1 TB plus. So if it's more than like 500 or almost 1,000 users, like you will get a lot of storage there. Okay. So each group will have its own SharePoint, right? So from here, you can always click open in SharePoint and it will open the SharePoint tab. So it's up to you whether you want to work directly from Teams or you want to work from SharePoint tab, you know? Okay. So let's look into few more features that we have here. So you can see there's notes here, right? That's notes here that has been added. So which is OneNote is already added over here, right? It's by default, it's there. So since this is the first time we are opening it, so we have to wait for a while, right? To use that notes features here, right? So last time we have to add on our own by clicking this add option. We need to add our OneNote or any applications that we want. But right now, Microsoft adding this notes tab by default, right? And then we have this plus icon as well. So whereby we can add our own applications. So let's just see what an applications we have that we can add. So usually what we will use here is actually planner. So let's just add a planner. Right. So you can see there's planner added over here, right? So you can choose create a new plan or add an existing plan. If you already have an existing plan where you created from the planner app itself, right? You can actually directly import that to your Teams group. So that's what it meant by add an existing plan. So if you are going to create a new plan, you have these templates here. So it's a basic plan, and then we have any type of projects, right? So when we select one of it, so for example, choosing this, so it has its own. You can see key benefits of creating this and stuff like that, right? And it will actually give a give you a list of plannings for your projects that need to be assigned on, right? So let me just put this webinar. Right. So you can see the name actually changed to webinar planner. So you can see there's plenty of plans that already added. So there's multiple views that you can see, right? So you have board view, you have grid views, right? So this is actually a board view whereby you can see based on the plan and what's the plan need to be done, right? And then we have calendar view. So once you set a specific date, it will appear on the calendar. And then we have chart as well, right? So we have multiple views here. So this is how we can actually attach a planner directly to our teams, right? So which we will see further on our next session, right? On how to utilize the planner and stuff. But that's an idea of how you can use it, right? So let's see what else we have. So from here we have this particular uh, find in channel where you can search for certain things in the channel directly, right? If let's say you forgot, maybe a long conversation after a few years of using Teams, you're gonna find something. You can always find in channel, and then you have channel notification. So make sure you turn this on so that you will get notification, right? If you turn it off, most probably you might not get any notification, right? So you won't be aware that there's a message there, right? So you can turn it on. Yeah, right. So let's all right. So other than that, we are basically have so manage team is done. So add members, same thing that I show in manage team. There's multiple ways that you can add a member. So one is from manage team, another one from here, and then you have add a channel as well. So you can create a channel from here. So get a link is which we talked about earlier, where the pending request. So that's how you can get a link. And then we have sorry, we have leave team here. So anyone can leave the team at any time. And then delete team. So as an owner, I have the privilege to delete the team at any time. So if you delete a team, right, you will be able to restore the team with the entire documents and conversation inside there within 30 days. So keep this as these 30 days as um, a marker for you guys. To retrieve any deleted items and stuff, right? So don't make it late because even Microsoft will not actually entertain those kind of restoration because they will remove it from their database as well, right? So unless you have your own policy, you put some retentions and so on, then you will be able to restore it back. Depends on the policy that you set. All right. So other than that, we have calendar here. So we have calendar as usual. You can create a new meeting from here, right? So you can create a new meeting. So you can give a title, add the user's email address, the attendees one, and then make sure always choose online meeting. If not, it will not generate any Microsoft Teams link, right? So you can create from here, and then it's actually a common place how you create, and anything that you create here will actually synchronize to your Outlook as well, Outlook calendar. So anything that you create in Outlook calendar will be shown in your Teams as well. So it's actually working as synchronization or vice versa, right? So like we just this. So other than that, we also have webinars. You can schedule a meeting, schedule a webinar, town hall, and virtual appointments, right? So you have these kind of features under your basic license as well. But if let's say you would like to create a live event, then it requires a special license for you guys, for you to create a live event with all the um, QR generations and stuff like that, right? So if let's say you would like to understand or like to know anything about how to create a live event or anything, you can always drop an email for us so we can help you out on organizing a live event. So, right? Okay, we have new calendar view. So this is actually one of recent updates that Microsoft given. So new calendar view looks something like this, right? So similar to what we have in our Outlook. So that's how Microsoft integrated in our Teams as well, right? But at the moment, they still give an option for us to toggle it on and off, to use the old version and the new version so that we can test it around, right? So yeah, so if let's say you go back to the old version, basically Microsoft requests for a feedback, like what's the reason you're going back to the old version and what they can improve, right? All right. So we have calls here. So calls which is available on your mobile as well. So you can always download your mobile app Teams, which is free, and also make sure you have a business account. You can sign in with your business account, and you can actually reply the chats, or start picking up your calls from your mobile itself, right? Okay, so before we end this team session, I would like to show you guys the settings option here. So under settings, so you can see there's general. So under general, you have the common things where um, you can see where the activity should show, whether at the bottom, at the top, right? And then you have language here. Choose Teams app language, which is English. If let's say you want to, your primary language is a different language, you can change it over here always, right? So and then you have translation. So in which language you'd like to translate the messages, and then you can set out of office as well. So out of office, which you can schedule, from this date to this date, right? So you can see when you on it. So there's auto reply over here as well, right? Notification. So this is for the notification portion, right? So show in Teams, right? So you can see all these notifications and displays are automatically enabled, right? So if let's say you want to customize your own notification sound or anything, you can always change here. So this is the default sound. You have multiple sounds here that you can select from, right? So, so pretty much these are the things that you can actually change from this settings option based on your preference. If you are using the desktop Microsoft Teams, right? So you will have additional option. So at the moment, it's only available on your desktop setting, whereby you can actually customize your notification actually. So for instance, your notification is actually showing. So it's okay. Let me reshare my entire screen. Share my entire screen to show my desktop Teams, right? Okay. So you can see here we have this particular settings. So general, so you can see here there's opening content in Teams window. So main window or new window, there's new window there, right? So when it comes to notification, right? Okay. So in the web base, when we saw the settings, we don't see this particular display setting, right? So you can see bottom right, which is the common one, and then we have top right, and then we have bottom left and also top left. So we can actually customize our own notification places actually, right? By default, it's actually on bottom right, right? So that's the additional features that you have when you are using the desktop app, right? If you are using the web application, then you might not have that particular feature, right? So pretty much these are the things that I like to show in Microsoft Teams. So at the end of the day, we want to discuss here about how you can collaborate with your colleagues by creating a department groups and share files there, and the and also an idea for you guys what to share in the chat and what not to share, because it is actually quite crucial where the files are saved and what will happen in future and those kind of things, right? So pretty much those are the things we have in Microsoft Teams that I would like to show, for you guys. Next up, we will actually continue with our sharing with Microsoft OneDrive and also SharePoint, like what are the things that we can do inside there. So for that, let me quickly get exit. Yeah. So yep. So we have Microsoft OneDrive and SharePoint. So which I will go through simultaneously on both features. We're not gonna um, you know make it as a two separate session. We will go with it simultaneously because the features of OneDrive and also SharePoint is actually the same thing over there. But there's only one difference, which is OneDrive is for your personal use, a personal storage, and SharePoint is for the organization use. So that's the only difference that users should understand, right? So under My Files, you will be able to see all the documents you have, right? All the folders, all these folders are that I uploaded previously, right? So you can see here, there's a folder called Microsoft Teams chat file, right? So Microsoft Teams chat file. So this particular folder is very crucial. So that's why I changed the color so that I can give you the differentiation there. So the reason that I'm saying that this is very important folder is because any files that we share in the chat area earlier, right, that I mentioned, will be stored under this particular folder, right? So you can see just now I uploaded this particular file, right? So you can see it shows all the information here, and then it shows as shared, and then you can also see with whom it was shared, right? So technically, I'm the owner of this particular file, right? And I shared to these particular users. So, but then for your view from the chat area, you just feels like I upload the file inside this group chat. That's it. Right. Basically, it will then from there it will give the permission so that's how the sharing works actually. Chat by you actually. So that give me a all right. So let me just reshare again. Screen. All right. So all right. So we were talking about OneDrive here. All right. So about the sharing files and stuff, right? So so this is where all the files that we share in the chat area will be stored, right? So, and the rest of the files, okay. So the reason why I said that we will talk about a SharePoint and OneDrive simultaneously is because the features that we have here, right? The features we see in OneDrive and also in SharePoint. So how am I going to open the SharePoint? Is by going to my Teams, and then I'm gonna choose open in SharePoint, right? Hmm. So you can see that we have the exact same thing. So most of the things are the same thing from OneDrive, right? So that's why I said we're gonna go ahead simultaneously, right? So under OneDrive, users are eligible with 1 TB of storage. So that's the least you will get with Business Basic and also Standard license, right? So in case your 1 TB of storage is almost full and also you would like to increase the storage, you can always increase that. Microsoft has this OneDrive plan 2, whereby it will increase up to 5 TB of your storage, right? So you can always get that particular additional license. It's an additional license, right? Whereby you need to purchase and also assign to a specific person so that their storage will increase, right? Okay. So now let's see what are the features we have in this three dot. The most important thing is share. Okay. So we have share here, and also we have share in um, SharePoint as well, right? Share. Okay. So I'd like to show some difference here. So you click this settings, you will see the entire settings. The same thing when you click here, you will see the entire settings. So if you realize here, you can see there's only three options, but when it comes to OneDrive, I have four options here. Okay, this is because from the backend, as an admin, we actually disable the function of anyone sharing from your SharePoint. So the reason is because SharePoint is related to your organization base. So we, as an organization, we don't want you to share the files to anyone with the link. Because if let's say you share a file with anyone with the link, you can see the description. So anyone with the link can access the file without signing in. So that's actually quite dangerous for us to share a organization file with somebody with a link. So that's why in SharePoint, we don't have that particular option, right? We have people in VLAN lab, and also we have only existing people. So only existing people means then those that have membership access will get access to this particular folder, right? So, and then we have people you choose. So people you choose, it can be inside or outside of the organization, but then they have to sign in, and then they'll need to get the code for them to sign in actually. So for example, from OneDrive, you're gonna choose people you choose, and then under more setting, you can see can edit, you can give them permissions. So I just give can view, and then set expiry. So you can actually set an expiry date for a certain folders actually. So if let's say you want them to access this folder until Friday, so you can apply that, and basically the user will actually access the file, have access to the file until Friday only, right? So now let's type should at vlan.asia, right? I'm gonna add this, so it will still give you um, um an update here saying that this particular user is outside of your organization. So because it makes you to aware that you are sharing to someone outside of your organization, right? So and then you can add a message, anything, right? So you can add a message, this file, this file access valid until Friday in the, and then you send it out, right? So once you send it out, so basically what happens is that I will receive an email, right? So I will receive an email shortly. So from there, I can actually click that particular link, right? And then sign in with my VLAN.asia's account, right? So it will take some time for that particular email to reach me, because I'm using this demo account, right? So that's how you can actually share a file or folder to someone outside your organization. So make sure you utilize those expiry date and stuff like that, because if you don't set any expiry, then they can actually access the folder forever. So if that's your intention, then you don't have to set anything. But if let's say you are someone that always forget that you share the files or something, then better to set expiry date, right? So and then we have copy link, same thing. So it's goes back to the anyone can actually access the link, right? So it will give any users with the link access to that particular folder. So request file. So we have request file options as well. So request file means so you can actually type it out. So let's see, upload. Okay, ask people upload file A. So you can see please upload file B, right? So and then I click next, and then it will ask me you want to send their email to someone or what. So when I send this to someone, they can actually add any file into this particular folder. So okay, so it's already sent. So let me just quickly check and see whether it goes to my junk or it's under my email. Yeah, it goes to my junk actually. Okay, the reason it goes to my junk is because the domain is actually coming from, you know, my demo account, which, doesn't have a certain policies and stuff like that. All right. Something went wrong. Channel isn't working right now. Okay. All right. So basically, this is how we can actually share files, right? But then I think it's still not working yet for me because it shows an error there. Sign in. Yeah, so it's coming from my demo account, right? All right. So since your request, please upload a file. So similar thing. So upload a file. So you can see from here, it will directly bring me to VLAN lab sharepoint.com. So you can see it's not actually under my access, but then it directly brings me to the lab account. So if you realize here, VLAN.lab, right? So my job here, I can just select a file and upload only. I cannot do anything else, right? If let's say there's a lot of files inside there or anything, I still cannot access those files because the request is just to upload a file, right? So I select a file, maybe, okay, so maybe this is the file, right? Okay, let me just upload it. So just put a first name, last name. I just put kitchen and then upload. So it's uploading. Right? So it's uploaded. So now it's done. So if you want to upload more, you can upload more. Right? Now let's go back to this particular page, right? So give it a refresh. So you can see a few seconds ago. So I upload this particular file, right? And you can see modified by guest contributor, right? And the file name also has been changed, and at the front it says kitchen corner. So my name is appears, and then it follows with the entire file's name actually. So that's how you can actually request a file and without anyone actually looking into that particular folder. So if let's say you want to, maybe you are from maybe you are a lecturer, or maybe you are doing a training or asking your team to submit certain files or anything, but then you don't want other departments or other people to know. Maybe, you know, you want everyone to upload a file into the same place, but then you don't want them to know what are the files uploaded by others. Then you can actually always do this particular option here. So let's look into the SharePoint here. So let's create a folder. Mm, information. Okay. So let's see. So we have share as usual, right? We have copy link. We have manage access, right? Delete, automate, and stuff like that. But then if you realize there's no option for you to request file from SharePoint. The reason is from OneDrive, only you have access, right? This is your OneDrive, your personal OneDrive. So you can request somebody else to upload a file to you. But then when it comes to SharePoint, this is not belongs to you. It belongs to the organization. So by default, the members of this particular group can upload the file. So there's no need for us to request a file um, from somebody to upload into our SharePoint, right? So that's first thing. Second thing, if let's say you are allowing somebody else, a guest user or maybe an external user to upload a file, there's a risk there whereby we don't know what type of files they're gonna upload into our SharePoint. So which can be very, very um, problematic. If let's say they upload something, maybe they don't aware, wasn't aware there's maybe malware inside there or anything. If they upload that particular file and you open it and download it or whatever, and that malware will actually go into your system and everything. So these kind of security concerns are there under SharePoint. Okay, you might be thinking, then if I use OneDrive, so there's no any security, is it? So I can just simply ask anyone to upload any malware, is it? Or there's no such thing. So if let's say there's a users are uploading certain files, those kind of files, there's actually always a security layer that actually going to protect you, right, for your OneDrive and also SharePoint. But then the SharePoint is for the organization, so there's no any need for external people to upload. So that's the main goal there, right? So let's see what else we have here. So manage access. So basically, you can always stop the sharing or you want to share. So at the moment, all the group members have access. So you can see if there's any link has been generated. But right now there's nothing. So from OneDrive, if you realize, you can see there's shared option here, right? So I can go to this manage access, and then I can see, okay, can view. There's one particular person has can view option. So if let's say he already upload the file and then I don't want him to have access anymore. I don't want to wait until Friday. I want to remove the access right now itself, right? So you can actually remove the members access by going to this link, right? And then delete, right? Remove all the shared link actually, right? So can view, so direct access, can view, so you can see remove direct access, right? So now there's no any access to anybody. So now this particular shared will change the moment we refresh the page. Right now change back to private. So means only I have access to that particular folder, and the file that he uploaded will remain there actually. So now the file is actually on our OneDrive, right? So that's how we can actually share files with internal and external people. And then we have delete, rename, download. All these are common things that I'm not gonna waste my time over there, right? So because I believe everyone that joined here are 365 expert already. So yeah. So from SharePoint, similar things we got delete, but we got automate here. So whereby we can actually automate a flow, certain flow for the respective folders and stuff like that, which we will actually cover on our upcoming webinar as well on Power Automate. So on certain things like how we can automate certain things from SharePoint to Teams or Teams to SharePoint, those kind of things, right? And then we have add a shortcut to OneDrive. Okay, so this is something I really want to stress about as well. Okay, the why I'm going to talk about this is because for business standard users, so everything that we saw all the while is actually for business basic users, right? Everything on the web, right? But for business standard users, you have an additional privilege for OneDrive and SharePoint whereby you can um, sign in on your desktop version. So for example, under my OneDrive, so you can see here. So this is my lab account OneDrive, right? So whatever you saw in the web, you can see it from the desktop as well. My OneDrive, right? It's because I signed in. You can see this is the sign in option, right? I signed in over here. And also, once you sign into your OneDrive, you can always sync your SharePoint to your desktop. So if you realize here, there's no webinar SharePoint sync to my desktop. So now I'm going to sync my webinar SharePoint to the desktop. Okay. So there's two options here. If you realize, there's sync, there's add shortcut to OneDrive, right? So there are certain customers that come back to us. They say that, oh, I cannot sync my files from SharePoint to the desktop. I have issues. I cannot sync, and other stuff can do, I cannot do, and stuff like that. Many things. The reason is most probably they would have synced their SharePoint as a shortcut under OneDrive. So that's the main problem here. So you can see if I click add a shortcut to OneDrive. Okay, so now it's added, right? So if I go back here, so I don't see it under my SharePoint, but when I go to OneDrive, right? So see, let me just refresh it. So you can see here, there's document webinar, right? So you let me just make it a bit larger for you guys to see in a better way. So you can see document webinar, right? So, but then compared to other folders, this particular folder has a unique icon here, which means it's coming from SharePoint. So users might accidentally do this particular add a shortcut, and then they struggle to find, I don't find it, they say I don't find it in SharePoint. And then when they go to OneDrive and they say, "Hey, it belongs to me, it's not the SharePoint, it's OneDrive." So they get confused on this particular portion, right? So for you to sync back here, if let's say I want to sync to SharePoint, okay, let's sync. So what happened is, okay, I open, but then I will get an error. Sorry, we can't sync this folder because it's already synced under OneDrive, right? So that's the reason we cannot actually sync to our SharePoint. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to unsync this first. So we have remove shortcut option. So choose remove shortcut. So it will take a while for it to remove, since it's actually just one particular file inside there. So it's not a big deal for me to remove. But if let's say, just imagine you have a large number of files and then you do that particular add a shortcut option, then that's gonna take a lot of time for you to remove that shortcut. So now I'm gonna sync, open, no issues. Then I go back here, and then I see webinar documents already synced, right? So make sure always look after the status, because this status determine whether anything that you upload or save from the desktop, whether goes to the cloud or not, right? So for example, we have feedback here. So we have two files here. So let's say I'm going to create a new one. Maybe I'm going to create new folder called test, right? So it's sync. So you can see the status, it syncs, and then go, now we can actually go here and then go under feedback. So give it a refresh. So it's here already, right? So that's how the status is very important, right? Okay, now let's look at those that do not have any status. right? So we have support. Okay. So now I go inside support, same thing. I create a test folder, right? So, and there's no any status there. But then I assume the moment I create in the desktop, it will sync to the cloud, right? So let's see support. So where's support? So there's a lot here. Like look at support. So under documents, support documents, okay, we should be able to see test there. But then we only see general escalation form, but I don't see test over there. It's because there's no sync option there, right? So that's the reason the test is not there. But then if let's say you are on a business trip, you don't have any internet connection. So if you do not have any internet connection, your status will not appear actually. So you must always have your internet connection. So if let's say you don't have internet connection, but you need to create a folder and upload it first, right? You have to do it right now. Maybe in the evening you go to a cafe and then you get an internet connection, right? So you can do so. So for example, now I already upload the file without the internet, right? So once I got the internet, so for example, once I got the internet, what happens is that, so you don't have to do this. Once you get the internet, it will automatically happens for you. But let me just think first, right? Use this folder. Okay. So now what happened is that, so my support document started to sync. I get all the status. So just now, if you realize you didn't see all the rest of the files over here, but now everything is here. My test file also is uploaded. Okay, so let me just give a refresh and see whether my test file is now here or not. Yes, my test file is here. So that's how you can actually work offline. So this is for business standard users. So not for business basic. So business basic, you got no choice. You must get an internet connection before you start working. So for business standard users, you can actually upload it first. Then once you get the connection, it will sync to the cloud, right? But until you get the internet connection, your colleagues cannot see that particular folder. So if let's say you say that, oh, I already uploaded earlier, but then when you upload earlier, you don't have internet. So your colleague from maybe other region, they cannot see the file. So once you get the internet connection, then only your colleague can see the file actually uploaded, right? So that's how we call it as offline work. So this is how you can actually work offline by syncing all the folders to the desktop and opening it from there, right? Okay, so those are the things we have in OneDrive and SharePoint, right? So we have talked about co-authoring, we have talked about how to share a file, set expiry, and then remove the access. And then now we talk about how to sync and whether to use the sync option or to use that add a shortcut option. So always don't use that shortcut option. Okay. So use the proper way. Shortcut is always very ugly one. So don't use that shortcut option. That's my recommendation lah. Because based on my experience, a lot of customers get confused when they put, yeah, I mean like use this particular add to shortcut. Unless you are really familiar how it works and everything, then go ahead, no worries. But if you're not familiar enough with that shortcut and everything, so don't use that. Okay, so that's the best practice over there. And then we have rename pin to top as usual. You can set a color to each folders, right? Maybe this folder I want to set red color, so I can change the color over there, right? So you can always give a specific color. So this is how OneDrive and SharePoint works. So that's why I don't want to go deep in, make it a different session. So I just want to combine it so that we can see the exact differentiation over there, right? So we only talk about files and also how the files work and everything. But SharePoint actually can give you even more features actually. So for example, we have these particular site contents, we have pages. So you can create pages. So for example, we go home page, right? So you can actually create your own page here, a landing page, like a website. You can upload your daily updates and stuff. So if let's say you need to do this, the first thing you must know how the thing works, right? So, and then they have templates, right? So Microsoft gives templates for every application, right? So they give a template. So from this template, you can actually edit the words, you can upload your own image and stuff like that, right? So for example, I'm gonna use create this, and then I'm not gonna edit anything, I'm just gonna publish it, right? And then close, add a page title to continue, right? Okay, so I'm gonna put test, right? And then I just publish. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it's already published, but then help others to find your page so we can share and everything, right? So now under my home page, it's already, let me make it as home page, site content. Sorry, pages. Oh, give me a moment. Go to pages. We have test here. So yeah. So you can see it's already created over here, right? So you can even make this as a as your home page, you know. So there are certain customers like the enterprise companies, they always use these features, right? So they can get analytics like how many users saw their like read the article and stuff like that. So if let's say you want to go through on this, it's a quite large topic whereby how to create, how to manage and stuff like that. So I'm just going to show that this is feature that is available in SharePoint, but we're not going to go through all the settings and everything, right? So, all right. So pretty much those are the things I'm going to show on SharePoint and also OneDrive. So share favorite as usual. So if let's say, I just want to talk about this recycle bin. So if let's say you guys delete certain files, if you're deleting from OneDrive and also you want to recover it, so there's always retention policy, and also there's secondary recycle bin for the admins to recover. So there's always a way for the admins to recover, right? So same goes to SharePoint. So whereby if let's say some customers request us, what happens if the staff delete the file from SharePoint? So you can recover it from this cycle bin as usual. So the second question, what happens if the staff delete the file from recycle bin? Then there's another option for the admins where they can actually recover from the secondary recycle bin where the staff don't have access. And also we can set policies from backend. So not sure how many of you guys are aware of it, where we can set a policy to disable deletion, any file deletion from certain SharePoints or the entire SharePoint, existing SharePoint and stuff like that. So we can block deletion from SharePoints actually, right? So pretty much those are the things I would like to show in OneDrive and SharePoint. So we still got 30 more minutes before we end our Outlook, the last one, and also move to our Q&A session before I wrap up with my certain slides that I want to share for our upcoming webinar. So if you guys have any questions regarding Teams, SharePoint, or OneDrive, you can always, drop in the Q&A session. So where in our Q&A session time, I'll read through and then answer your queries and stuff. So you can always feel free to drop your questions there, right? If there's any complicated questions that like issues like you are facing, then we can take it as offline. Like once the webinar is done, we can actually take that query out, and then we can send you an email for any discussion, further discussion from our help desk team, right? So next, let's go to Outlook, the final session. So before that, give me a moment. I'll just change my color. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? The dark theme. Um, change general appearance. Yep. All right. So that the brightness will be much better. All right. So I used to use that dark mode so that I don't want to get my eyes watery and stuff like that, because I have my eyesight problems a bit. So if you guys realize, if you guys when I do the presentation, if you guys realize I tend to squeeze my eyes a lot to see clearly and stuff. So that's why I use that dark mode, which is really easier for me to see. So let's move on with our final session, which is Outlook. All right. So before we talk about anything about like what we have in this inbox and how we can create rules and everything, I would like to talk about calendar. So many of our customers, or even 365 users, even though if there's any of you guys that's not our customer that joined our train session today, right? This particular portion, when I realized there's a lot of customers doesn't know that these features is there. So I'm not sure whether um, it's about we are not educating you guys, or maybe you guys are not exploring. I'm not sure how to you know mention that. But then recently I'm trying to educate all my customers on this, right? So which is not about how to create a calendar. That's very silly if I do that, because everybody knows how to create a calendar, right? So, and then you can enable these for the Teams meeting. But what I'm going to talk about here is the resources, right? So how many of you guys know that there's resources that you can create? So what is resources, first of all? So resources is uh, kind of like AI tool by Microsoft given to us, where we can actually create all our meeting rooms inside there. So not only meeting rooms, we can also create all the equipments that we have inside that particular same resources uh, admin center. So equipments means, what do I mean? Okay, maybe in some company you are using Microsoft 365, but then you have your ground staff that are working in factory. Maybe they have so borrow it for certain those kind of things. Those kind of using, but not much. So just imagine you guys are using you're from college and you're using all those equipment, or you have a meeting room in your organization, right? So you can always use these resource rooms to create the meeting room. So you add a title, right? So as usual, just add a title. So for example, uh, weekly hurdle bracket management, something, right? So, and then you invite your attendees and stuff like that, right? So let me just invite external people, somebody, and then you have these meeting rooms available, right? You're gonna book. Okay, so from 12:30, I'm gonna book for 1 hour until 1:30, right? So it shows the green color icon, means it's available, all good. I'm sending it out. Okay. So once I send it out, what happened? So I go back to my inbox, right? So I just wait for a while. Let's see. I should receive reply very soon. Yes. So Ocean Room. So it says that your request was accepted. So means the room is available and the backend AI already respond to me saying, okay, the room is actually available for you to book. So you can go ahead. Okay. Straightforward, right? So okay. So now if let's say somebody else going to book that meeting room. So for example, I'm gonna open a shared mailbox. So this is for another way of opening shared mailbox for those using web-based. So open another mailbox and then you can always type the email address, right? And then this is a shared mailbox and then I choose open. So it will open another mailbox for me, right? So it opens another mailbox for me, right? So now what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go to the calendar and then I'm gonna book the meeting room, right? So okay. So what will happen here is okay. I'm on a different okay. This particular mailbox is in a different region. Okay, 12:30 to 1:30. And then choose ocean room. And it's the 05. So it shows it's available, right? Okay. 12:30 to 1:30. Okay. So let me just create first and then send it out, right? 2025. So basically, I will receive your request was accepted because this particular mailbox is in a different region. So I just need to check that. By right, what should happen is you should receive notification, something like this, which is your request was declined because there are conflict between the user and the time and date from which time to which time. So this is how the AI responds to you when you book that particular resource room, right? So because I have seen some of our customers that they use, they have to reach out to the admin and then check whether the meeting room is booked or not from this date to this date. And then if it's not booked, then they will fill up the, books, more of a manual work. So to cut down all those manual works, we're going to use this particular M365 resources, right? So if you haven't set it up yet, so you can always reach out to us. You can always send an email and then a request how to set it up. We can always help you out on the setup actually, right? So that's on calendar that I wanted to show. So other than that, we have people. So as usual, so your entire context will be shown here. So if let's say you have your contacts from a different platform, right? Inside a different platform and you need to import all the contacts over here. So you can always do so. You can export the contact from your existing hosting. For example, you're using Gmail. So you export your data from there, your contact list, and then you can choose import from here. So you can always import here, right? You can browse and import. And make sure you understand how the import works. In certain scenario, you might missed out some folders, sorry, not folders, a column to remove or to add. So sometimes it happens. So the best practice, what I always do is I always export first. So it will export. So you can export all contact and then choose export, right? So it exports a CSV file, right? So for example, I open it. Okay. So I export, right? So I export the entire list. So this is how it should look like, all the details inside there. So the first name, last name, everything you have to key in all the details, and then you can import the same file inside, right? So there are certain folders that are required for you to fill out, and certain columns that you don't have to fill in. So it just you have to go through. If you are good at going through the article, then you can always go through the article, right? If let's say you are not really into those article reading person, then you can always update all the data inside there. Then you can always choose to import here, right? Choose import and then browse, and then you select that contact, right? So and then you choose import, but then there's no contact inside there, so it won't import anything. It says something wrong because there's nothing inside it, right? So that's how you can import. But if let's say you have difficulties importing and exporting, there's another way which we will use a PowerShell script to import all the customers, like the contact list into your specific account. That's another way to import. And then we have groups here. Okay, what is a group? So this is actually an M365 group, right? So wait a moment, I think my video is off. Okay, all right. So it's actually a M365 group here, right? So whereby you can actually um, use this particular platform as a group email where your entire department can actually access send on behalf of you. Employee onboarding. Correct. Okay, so let me reshare again. Okay, so I think the moment I turn on the camera, there's something wrong. All right, so let's just focus on the session and get it done. So that's okay. All right. So we have this M365 group here, right? So whereby we can actually see all the members list inside here. So at the moment, I'm the only one inside here, right? And then we have emails inside here. So whereby I can actually reply on behalf of this particular group. So just imagine there's a lot of members inside here. So for example, okay, so I can actually reply on behalf, right? So from here, and it will actually just reply, and then maybe I just from this particular account to, and then maybe I just send it to here and VLAN right here. Okay, chess and then send, right? So basically, I can reply from an M365 group. So this is actually M365 groups. So even let's say you want to create this particular group, so it should be from your admin center. You create a M365 group, right? And then you can see a new reply comes on top here, right? So that's how actually you can send a new email or anything. So for example, let's just look at the email address. So edit group. So okay, so this is the email address of this group, right? Right. So you can see. So I'll just copy this and then compose a new email, right? Send it to employee onboarding at VLAN right? As webinar, right? Send it out, right? So it's VLAN So this guy. So it will take a while, right, before it reach out to this particular mailbox, right? Okay, so let's see whether I can get the email or whether I get the bounce back email. Okay, I get the bounce back email. Okay, because I need to check further why I mean like getting me a bounce back email. But then for you guys, you can always create a new group from here, right? Or you can get your admin to create the group for you, right? So you can create a new group and then give it a name and stuff like that, right? And then choose the default setting. So whether it's a private group and who will be the member and everything. So this is actually quite long time. We create this particular group. So let's just create a new one and see. Email address webinar. Maybe I just put webinar underscore live. Right, description on it, then just create. So I'm just gonna add members. Like you can see, there's no members name there because there's no license for them. So only these are the groups that I can add. So let's just add a port here. So you can see all of them are members. So it targets the entire group. So add everyone into the group. So just add. So you have employee onboarding and then you got webinar over here, right? So the webinar portion here, so you can see all the emails and everything. And then under members, you can see all the members here. So you can send email in and out, but then you can see there's external people. So external people by default, they won't have much access inside here, right, to the group. So you can always remove them, right? External people, right? And the reason you don't see any other members added here because they don't have license. So only licensed members can be added into this particular group, right? So that's the um, criteria that only licensed user can be added under M365. So we have another 15 more minutes. So let's just get this thing done in another 5 more minutes, right? Before we move on. So yeah. So from here, we can basically create a subfolder. So we can create a subfolder. For example, I'm going to create a subfolder called Ocean Room, right? So I'm gonna create and then just choose subfolder ocean room, and then the folder with the same name already exists. Okay, let me just there's not any drop down there. You just refresh. Okay, so you can see there's ocean room here and it's empty. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a rule here. So you can see I can go under rules, and then I can create manage rule or create rule, right? And then I can select move to a different folder, right? Sorry, move to a different folder, and then I choose ocean room and I click OK. So run this rule now. So basically all the ocean room emails will be moved to this particular subfolder, right? So pretty much that's how you have to create a folder and also manage your rules, so that you can actually instead of keeping all those emails inside your inbox, you can actually create multiple subfolders for certain users and move the emails to those folders actually, right? So that's on how to create a subfolder. So let's move on to the settings that we have. So we're not going to go through the entire settings. So we're just going to go through which is important. Like we have auto reply here. So we can enable these features, right? And then you can send to internal people and also external people, like two different set of auto reply. That's a very common thing, right? So, and then we have signatures. So signature is where you can actually create your own signature for your emails, and make sure you select new messages and also replies. So and then save. If not, there's no any signature will be added to your emails that you want to reply, right? And then we have storage here. So by default, business basic and standard users will have 50 GB of storage as usual, right? So in case you want to increase it, you need to get Exchange Online Plan 2, which will give you 100 GB of storage and also archiving storage as well as additional, right? And then under general, most of it are common things. We're not gonna go through that. So under email, so we will talk about rules done earlier. So we're just gonna talk about forwarding here. All right. So forwarding, email forwarding. So if you want to do any email forwarding internally, you can do so. But if it's externally, you have to reach out to your admin to enable it. But then by default, it's disabled. You cannot forward your emails to external people, right? And make sure if you are someone that set email forwarding, make sure select this keep a copy option, right? The moment you don't select this keep a copy option, automatically it will just forward the email to outsiders. It won't keep any emails for you actually. So that's the only downside if you don't enable that, right? After a while, maybe you're going to stop the email forwarding, but then you will miss out all the emails that has been forwarded. It won't keep any copy for you, right? So pretty much those are the things that we're going to talk in Outlook in nutshell. So if let's say you have any questions on Outlook or anything, feel free to drop in the chat. So in a while, we're gonna actually go through the Q&A session because we still got 10 more minutes, right? So let me just share window, right? So yeah, right? So okay, so it's a Q&A session, right? So and then feel free to scan the QR code for your feedbacks, right? Your feedbacks is really important for us, right? So please do scan those QR right? Right? Please do scan the QR and also give your feedbacks whether my explanation is clear or not. If it's really fast, maybe you couldn't catch up, anything. So feel free to give your feedback. And also now we actually gonna go through all your questions, right? Right? Let me just yeah. So let's go through on the questions. Right. Let me just go through your questions. There's any um, published. Okay, there are certain questions from Mr. Deepak. Who can create organization-wide teams? And is there a way to restrict creation of such teams? All right. So for that question, Mr. Deepak, so organization-wide teams can be created by default. Basically, by default, anyone can create that. But then we can restrict that from Microsoft Teams Admin Center. And also we can restrict like maybe can allow only certain users can create. So that is something we can do it from Microsoft Teams Admin Center actually. So yeah, because last time Microsoft actually allowed anyone to create, even the normal teams also anyone can create, but now it's basically we need to check the policy and we can actually customize that move whether we allow them to do it or not. So, so admins to create, right? So we can set admins to create. So we can set admins to create and restrict admins to create from Teams Admin Center, right? So that's done. Next question. How often should an organization back up their OneDrive? Okay. So on the backup for OneDrive, so when we talk about OneDrive, right, um, there's no any certain dates or time that the users should do a backup, because technically OneDrive is for personal use, right? So there's no any durations there. But then if you ask him what best practices, it's better if you can do a backup. Like even VLAN are providing backup solutions and everything. So every 3 months or 6 months, once you do the backup, it's really good for us to, in case anything happen, we can always restore back all the backups, right? So how often? So 3 months, the best practice, which is 90 days. So 90 days, because why is 3 months is the retention policy that Microsoft said is also 3 months, which is 90 days. So every 90 days, if we can back up, so that would be a really good recommendation there for actually organization backups. Okay, let me see. We put there action regarding the users leaving the organization. What can be done to prevent the broken links for documents and the shared tab? Okay. All right. So under that shared tab, right? So for those that leaving the organization, so that is something we are actually I'm personally getting in touch with Microsoft also, so to understand how those things are working, because recently I had this kind of issues as well, where the customers are migrating from 365 to 365, but then when there are certain users are no longer will be licensed, those kind of files are having issues actually. So I'm actually still checking on it. Maybe I'll take this your query personally as well. And once I get feedback on once I do my research on this, and I can actually always email it to you as well. So this is something I will take it offline since it's under study, right? Once we have the answer, we will definitely email you, Mr. Deepak. To you, right? Email it to you, right? So the last one is actually how do I restrict the type of files individual can upload in regards to security type of files. So if we are talking about type of files that an individual that can upload, okay. So we have this a defender license called ATP, Advanced Threat Protection, whereby we have this anti-malware policy where we can restrict all the type of files that has been uploaded to our OneDrive or SharePoint or inside our Teams. So we can restrict that. So, but then we need that particular advanced threat protection license, which is under anti-malware. So where we can add all the extensions like the how to say the um, any .rar files, any executable files. So we can restrict a lot of things from there. So that's best way we can do from 365 point of view, right? Required advanced threat protection license to block extensions. So extensions related to files, right? So yeah, that's answers for the questions. So is there any more questions? There's one new. Okay. All right. So I would like to kindly request if you could share the slide presentation for this training for reference. All right. And then, no, okay. So that's your email address, is it? Okay, sure, sure. So we will actually get the slides shared to you as well. So you prepare slides on what we shared, right? And then pass it over to you. So, yep, sure, sure, can. All right. So we still got 2 more minutes. So what we gonna do on our upcoming session? So I hope you guys already upload the feedbacks. So what we're gonna share or present in our next sharing is basically we're gonna talk about Planner. So what Microsoft Planner can perform. So basically like task management, collaborations and integrations among our team and how we can manage our plan. I mean like a project under a planner, right? Microsoft Planner. So, and then that's on planners. And then we have Microsoft Loop. So this is one of the most interesting topics that we will be sharing on next webinar. So Microsoft Loop, like this is also a project tracker base of Microsoft tool, whereby it's eligible for our business standard users. For business basic users, you have your own portion as well under Microsoft Loop. So both of you can utilize Loop, but then there are some limitations between basic and standard, right? So this is also, they have their templates, how you can actually manage your um, projects, real-time collaboration, how you can share the project tables and stuff like that to your colleagues and everything. So you can work as a members inside that particular loop as well. So which we VLAN are already utilizing it under project. So to keep track of our project, what's the status and everything, right? So that will be a very interesting topic to share. And then we have Microsoft Forms as well. So Microsoft Forms is actually quite interesting, getting interesting lately because there's a lot of templates and everything Microsoft are integrating within it, right? So we can actually create a forms, right? And then we can see how we can share and then what type of forms we can customize and what are the settings that we can play around in Microsoft Forms, right? And how we can get the data analysis, whether the users are already upload their feedback or maybe they already upload the answer the quizzes or stuff like that. And then there's a lot of things we can get from the analytics actually, right? And then we will talk about Viva Suite as well. Sorry. So Viva Suite. So this is actually we will keep it as simple in the next webinar because this is going to be our third webinar, which because it takes like whole entire 2 hours for this one session itself. Because under Viva Suite they have like 6 topics inside there. Like we have Viva Connections, Viva Insights, Viva Learning, Engage, Goals, Activity. So where you can actually um, do your learnings directly from Microsoft Teams. You don't have to go to other platforms. You can learn from there. You can build connections. Like you can create your own feed where you can upload your feed inside Viva connections and stuff like that. So all these things will be shared in our next sharing. So I'm just going in a quick because we are already at 12:02. So yeah, so this is what we're going to share on our next webinar. So stay tuned for our date and time. So which our team will update you guys very soon, right? So don't miss out. So I know the first session might be slightly boring because we talk about the same thing on what we already are doing it. But then the next session, the upcoming sessions will be very interesting because we will be touching all the applications that you did not utilize so far, right? So stay tuned and also please register for our next webinar as well, right? So if let's say there's anything for us to improve from this webinar, so feel free to drop the feedback as well. So we will um, open-heartedly accept all the feedbacks and we will try to improve all the feedbacks that we get gather, right? Thank you so much for the attendees to attend. So the slides we will share shortly once we have all the things done, right? Thank you. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye bye.